You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning to our second half of Ask the Master Auto Technician at 6:15. I've got Brian Armstead. I believe he's calling all the way from Maryland. Are you in Maryland? Are you in California? Where are you at today?
I'm in Maryland, James. I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you this morning.
Well, maybe my wife can turn the microphone up for you. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me.
No, it's, the line is actually breaking up just a little bit.
Well, maybe we have to reroute our telephone signal from Panama City to the East Coast to go up towards you where all the hurricanes starting to take place. That might be it.
Well, it's unfortunate that a lot of folks are facing the wrath of Matthew, the impending wrath.
Right.
I just wanted to say a prayer for those in the Caribbean who have already had to deal with it. Mother Nature, when she's ready to roar, she does her thing.
That she does.
So I guess the theme this morning is kind of Mother Nature-ish this morning, James, as we're going to talk about plug-in hybrid power in the form of the 2017 Toyota Prius Prime.
Yes.
Now, this is not something out of the Transformer movie. This Prime is not Optimus Prime. It doesn't transform into some kind of crazy robot, but it certainly does transform into it's built to be a serious MPG machine. 55 miles per gallon city, 53 highway, 54 combined. Combined range of total range of 640 miles when given the capacity of the 1.8 liter Atkinson Cycle 4. That's a long way to go.
It is.
On a tank full of fuel.
All right.
The MPG equivalent, electric power equivalent, is 124 miles per gallon. So, you're a Prius driver.
Right, I am.
And I have always loved the Prius, and even a big guy like me fits pretty well in the new Prius Prime.
Wonderful.
And handling-wise, James, it's a little bit different. The last Prius I kind of gushed over was the Prius Liftback. Had a chance to drive that out in California with a race course, not a race course, kind of a autocross type, perfect word, autocross setup.
Right.
Where we really had a chance to see what the Prius Liftback could do. Now, the Prius Liftback is 300 pounds lighter than the Prius Prime.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, I was really impressed with the performance attributes of the 2017 Prius Liftback.
Okay.
The Prius Prime is not a Prius Liftback in terms of handling.
Okay.
It's a little boring in terms of handling. It's heavier. Feels a little top-heavy from time to time, but at no point does it feel unsafe.
Okay.
You just can't go carving up canyon roads in one, even though our test route was a canyon road.
And it sounds like it's a really well-built car. Maybe it's designed more for maybe the older person that wants a more stable, not as race car type friendly.
Well, I think the beautiful thing about it is that Toyota gives you options. If you want a Prius that can carve up those canyon roads, to get the Liftback. If you want a vehicle that's just solely focused on miles per gallon and efficiency, then the Prius Prime is definitely for you. I mean, it's a little bit pokey. It does 0 to 60 in about 11 seconds.
Okay.
But again, it's just, it's not a fun car to drive, but it certainly is a quality car to drive. Prius has everything you need inside, including a beautiful new 9.7-inch screen that dominates the center console. It looks like an iPad. Looks like more of an iPad, not an iPad Mini even. It's like an iPad on the middle of the screen. And it's not 9.7 inches. It's actually 11.6 inches.
Wow.
So it's bigger than the new iPad.
Yeah, it is.
And it's arrayed in a rectangular vertical fashion. So you can do all of your navigation controls there. You can actually swipe it and pinch it like an iPad. So everything you need, all of the vehicle performance parameters, if you want to see what kind of power you're generating or expending, you can see everything right on that center screen. It's really an impressive addition to the interior. It's a HD quality display, and it's really, it's kind of a wow factor because this is what a lot of people said wow about when they first got into a Tesla.
Right.
Now, for a starting price of just under $28,000, you can say wow in a Toyota Prius.
Right now,
The Prius. Go ahead, James.
What I was going to say on it, I'm trying to recap what you're telling me, just not to go so far on it. They get around 55 miles to a gallon, 54 miles a gallon combined, whereas now they're getting about, I would say, a Prius Gen 2, Gen 3 gets around 45 to 48 miles to a gallon on average. And then you're saying this one with plug-in capacity can go about 124, 25 miles on a plug-in before the motor kicks on. Is that correct?
Oh, no. I'm sorry that you did not understand what I was saying.
All right.
It's got a 25-mile range.
25-mile range.
Electric power.
Okay, 25-mile range.
Electric power only.
Okay.
Yeah.
25
now,
miles.
That's not exactly groundbreaking.
No, it's not.
I believe I believe the Chevy Volt gets around 40 miles a gallon. I know Honda's working on some things. So 25 miles a gallon is not super impressive, but when you combine the fact that it gets 640 miles with the electric power and the gasoline power, then that's very impressive.
Yeah, I get about
Toyota estimates. I'm sorry.
I get about 500 miles on a tank of fuel of mine. You know, I got 11-gallon tank, 11.9, and at 500 miles, I'm looking for a service station. I better put some gas in it. And you're saying this one can go over 100 miles farther than that. That's pretty impressive.
It is impressive, but when you think about it, you know, most Americans commute less than 25 miles.
Yes, they do.
When I used to work in the District of Columbia, I live in suburban Maryland. It was a 12-mile trip for me each way. So I would be right at the tip, at the cusp of the range of the Toyota Prius. And then if I ran out of electric juice on my drive-in, then the Atkinson cycle motor, the 1.8 motor, will kick in. So to be able to drive each way for, you know, the equivalent of 124 miles per gallon on electric power.
Wow, yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week.
You could probably fill your car up one day and drive it to work, charge it when you get to work or when you get home or whatever, and you may have a tank of fuel that'll stay in there maybe a couple of months if you're only driving to work and back, like
you know,
most people do.
Put a little of the what's the stuff called, stable in it?
Yeah, but you're going to have to. Matter of fact, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea if you're having one of those.
Not a bad idea. Now, I mean, when you think about it, I like electric cars because they have a lot of them. They get up and go really quickly. But you always have that range anxiety, James. Tesla, Nissan Leaf. I mean, I'm glad that manufacturers are starting to develop, you know, fully electric cars, but I personally don't want to buy one because I don't want to have to look down and see where I am on the charge meter or the remaining power meter every time that if I go a couple of miles and I want to blast the air conditioner and crank up the stereo and put my foot in the car, I don't want to have to operate in eco mode all the time. Right. So I like the fact that the Volt and the Prius and all the other, you know, hybrids, well, all the hybrids supposed to be electric cars, have this flexibility.
It does, yes.
The Fisker, when they came out versus Tesla, I thought the Fisker would do better because it had a built-in generator to recharge the batteries. But Tesla ended up being the one that was the most popular because they have these super expensive batteries that can take your car 200-plus miles. I mean, that's very impressive.
It is impressive, really.
But for $120,000, you ought to be able to go 200 miles. I mean,
that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of money for getting a car to go 200 miles. Most people, that's one of the drawbacks of electric cars. People like to be able to go at least 300 miles between, fill-ups, and they want to fill one up really quickly. Kind of hard to do.
Until the infrastructure, is more advanced.
Right.
Yeah. Then you have the question of, do you really want to plug in? Do you really want to spend a couple of grand for a charge station at your home, or do you want to wait 8 to 10 hours for the 115-volt electric receptacle at your house to fully recharge the battery? That's another consideration.
It is.
If it's a commuter car, yes. Come home, plug it in, unplug it in the morning, drive off. It's a pretty solid routine. But if you're depending on this car for electric power, and you don't want to have to invest in an expensive charge station, then the hybrid's the way to go. You can still be clean and green. You're not as clean and green as an electric car, but you're certainly a lot cleaner and greener than most of the cars out on the road. Prius, they've got several models of the Prius, several trim levels. I just think all around these are terrific cars. None of the nightmare scenarios have come to fruition.
That's so true.
Where people are saying, oh, but when you get to 100,000 miles, you have to spend $10,000 on a battery pack. Oh, it hasn't happened yet. You've got Prius cars out there with original batteries.
Yep.
That are clocking over 200,000 miles
Yep.
of original battery.
Absolutely.
And the price of the batteries as they become more popular certainly has come down.
Yep.
So what? In 200,000 miles, I got to spend $2,500 for a battery. So what?
Big deal. Right.
You get out there and you spend $10,000 to get the Mercedes transmission replaced in your car. The Prius has very few mechanical parts. It's got 2 electric motors. It's got a gasoline engine that you never used.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
So what? The brakes will never go bad because you regenerate energy. So you put brakes in the car every 100,000 miles.
Oh,
What's there to complain about, folks?
200,000 miles on the average on Prius, in my opinion, because the brakes only apply at below 7 miles an hour or in an emergency stop, and it's like
otherwise,
they don't touch. They never touch.
Yeah, they don't touch. The energy's going back to the battery to recharge your unit. It's got the typical Prius styling, James, which is very Japanese. I'll leave it at that. You either love it or hate it.
I like it. I think it looks neat. It looks neat. It looks like it's moving.
Cool because but a lot of people, some of the Japanese styling is a bit radical. I like the Prius interiors. The interiors is spot on.
Yeah.
The exterior, it's a love it or hate it affair. But that's the case with most of the electric cars and hybrids. People tend to make them look quirky. The BMW i3, for example, not exactly my cup of tea, but I get it. They want to set a different type of design standard for their green cars. Soon when that big straw runs out of oil that we're sucking out the middle of the earth at prodigious rates.
Right.
We won't have to distinguish between, fossil fuel-driven cars and electric hybrid-driven cars. Because everything will look the same, because we'll all be depending on hydrogen or water power or wind power or solar power or whatever we figure out to get our cars down the road.
That's right.
But it looks like electricity is certainly part of the future, and this 2017 Toyota Prius Prime is a great example of it. Sorry we had to wait so long. The embargo is over. Expect to spend about $33,000 for a fully loaded one with all the bells and whistles, the great stereo system. It's got a really nice stereo system inside. A lot of bells and whistles available. I say that the Toyota Prius, if you're a city driver or if you have a commute that's not taxing, this is certainly a car that you want to consider. It's got Toyota Safety Sense, which has all kinds of safety bells and whistles, including lane departure and autonomous braking, all kinds of good stuff. Toyota's on a roll. They build quality cars. Also had a chance to drive the new Highlander, Corolla.
I got to go. We're up against a break. Brian, thank you so much. We got
Toyota.com. See you next week.
All right. Talk to you later, Brian. Thank you so much, sir. Bye-bye now.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.